Now let's talk about the individual rights. I really feel it very strongly, contrary to what you say, Dave, contrary to the argument I had with Charles C.W. Cook on this podcast 2 weeks ago. Trump has this power under the Alien Enemies Act, and it's really clear. And I think these judges are way out over their skis. And I actually do have hope that the Supreme Court's going to slap them and hard and remind them that they're unelected judges, that nobody elected them to do anything. They're not commander in chief. Judge Boasberg's had his fun playing mini commander. He's not. However, on the right to individual review, where one person says, wait, I'm not Tren de Aragua, that actually can be heard. And the administration has conceded that. They've conceded that. And actually, if I went back and did a dive, my God, help me, into other cases interpreting the Alien Enemy Act, including one that came down in 1813, gentlemen, this is how I spent my morning. This is how much I love you. 1813 cases I was looking at, where the court later clarified in a case called Lockington v. Smith that judicial review, they had said that judicial review into whether an individual is actually an alien enemy is okay. Like that we will allow, not to whether the president had the power to declare it or use it, but individual circumstances. Like, I'm not Tren de Aragua. Yes, you can have judicial review. And then they went back in Lockington in 1813 and said that review need only be available subsequent to incarceration. So Trump did no wrong. He did no wrong putting them on a plane and shipping them off to this El Salvadorian prison. But now, and this is why the administration is conceding it, they will have to give individual hearings where the person is claiming, I'm not Tren de Aragua. And I don't exactly know how that happens. I'm not sure. I don't know. I don't even know what the procedure for that would be, Dave. Do you have any idea?
I don't know once they're in another country. And I do think he did wrong in that they put him on the plane after the judge said, you can't do this anymore. So they knew what the judge ruled, and they were, like I said, they were playing games to. Well,
just to be clear, it appears they only did that with plane number 3. Planes number 1 and 2 were already airborne when the judge issued that ruling.
Right. But the ruling is the
they
ruling.
refused to turn the planes around. That is true.
Right. Correct. And just because you're in international airspace doesn't mean the judge's ruling doesn't apply to you. Or else, wow, that'd be fun. Every time there's a judge's ruling, you just send the people into international airspace and then torture them or whatever you need to do. Right. Also, you're right. I don't know what the process is now. This is uncharted territory now that they're in an El Salvador jail. And I don't know. But, there is something that we haven't mentioned yet, and is the War Powers Act, which is of 1973, which does show that Congress has a say in all of this. Now, what's unusual now is that Congress has decided to give up their rights to say, you know what, we're going to step back. We're not going to have any power now, which is why I think the judges have stepped up more aggressively than Mike would have liked.
I mean, that's all very sweet, but they don't have the power, Mike.
Here's the issue. Even if these terrorists are entitled to some sort of judicial review, it was not in the D.C. District Court. It was not with Judge Boasberg. He wasn't even the emergency judge 4 Saturdays ago when he opened up his courtroom, when he exposed this ongoing military operation, when he endangered American and allied lives. I mean, this was a very high stakes operation. And separate from that, look at the foreign policy implications of this. If this El Salvador president takes this high risk to take these terrorists, and then he has the planes turn around, what foreign leader would want to cut a deal with the president of the United States if they're going to be humiliated because an activist judge decides that they're going to be the commander in chief on Saturday and sabotage and abort the operation, and you've undermined that leader in his country. I mean, separate from the security issue, you're damaging the president's ability to conduct foreign affairs.
Here's what's really crazy. As far as we can see, nobody, including the ACLU, I raised this question repeatedly this week, saying I'm looking into the legality of shipping them out. I mean, not that. I accept he has the power, as I've just argued for the past half hour plus. But is it legal to put them in prison? Like, that to me is an interesting question. How do they wind up in prison without due process on criminal charges against them? For being gang members, for committing alleged crimes. How do you, I get how you deport them. You can ship them back to where they came from. That's no problem. You can ship them back to where they were born. The law recognizes that. I just don't know how you can ship them into a prison. But here's the weird thing. As far as I can tell, literally nobody's even arguing that that's an issue. Like literally nobody. Even the ACLU is not making that their argument, Dave. They're saying, well, they're putting them into jails in which they could be tortured. But they're not saying they're putting them into jails.
Right. I noticed that too, Megyn. They're holding their hat on the torture because that's an infamous prison where they have been put, but not on the fact that they're in a jail to begin with. So that is something ACLU must have found some sort of ambiguity in the law that would allow the administration to deport people into prisons. But, this is a notorious prison. And I don't know what you guys thought, but I didn't really love the image of Kristi Noem standing in front with her Rolex watch in front of those. It gave me North Korea vibes. I didn't like that the United States was putting out a
I did not like it, and I did
that.
a big bit on it. But, people disagree. I would say my audience is split. I actually expected them to be totally against me and you, Dave, on that and say, but actually they were about, I'd say 55% in our camp and 45% in defense of her. And the reason they are, I think, Mike, is like cases like the one that just came down today out of South Carolina, where another illegal was out there driving a car without a driver's license, of course, ran a stop sign and killed some college student with his whole life in front of him. Just run over and then abandoned, hit and run in the middle of the night. That's why people don't give a shit. That's why it's like, as soon as I have my, I don't know if it's just my human heartstrings that get pulled when I see the Kristi Noem thing with the guys behind her, like human props, it just makes me uncomfortable. Then they go out the window, because look what these guys are doing to us. They're killing our kids. So what would the left do? It's like, that's one of the problems here, Mike, as we look at this is like, what are the other solutions? Trump is cleaning up a mess.
Look, for 4 years, the Biden Justice Department persecuted Trump supporters who trespassed into the Capitol. And I didn't hear the left losing any sleep over Trump grandmas in the D.C. gulag. But the second we have the most vicious terrorist in the Western Hemisphere, Tren de Aragua, along with MS-13 gang members who were sent to our country from Venezuela to sabotage our country. They are kidnapping, they are robbing, they are raping, they are torturing. Look, Joe Biden let 15 million illegal immigrants into our country. I used to be a lot more liberal when it comes to immigration, legal immigration. I'm pretty anti-immigration right now, and I just have very little sympathy for any of these Tren de Aragua or MS-13 terrorists.
Tariff wars, stubborn inflation, no wonder gold's been routinely hitting all-time highs. In volatile markets like the one we have now, don't sit on the sidelines. You can take control and safeguard your savings. That's why so many are turning to Birch Gold Group. They've helped tens of thousands convert an existing IRA or 401k into one in physical gold. It's time for you to hedge against the economic instability with gold. Text MK to 989898. Birch Gold will send you a free, no-obligation info kit. Text MK to 989898. A+ rating with the Better Business Bureau, countless 5-star reviews. Birch Gold is there for you. MK to 989898 today. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.